The galaxy was ancient, stretching across light-years of darkness sprinkled with brilliant stars. Civilizations older than humanity's entire history floated among planets, moons, and colossal space stations. Some species were millions of years ahead in technology. Others had lived in harmony for countless centuries. But humanity, young, small, and untested, was considered insignificant by most of them. Earth had tried to reach out. Signals of peace and cooperation had been sent across star systems, but the replies were either cold or dismissive. Most advanced civilizations saw humans as emotional, fragile, and unpredictable. Humans argued, they laughed, they cried, but in the eyes of the galaxy, those traits were weaknesses, not strengths. In the sprawling command center of the United Earth Council, Captain Aria Vale watched the latest communications from the Interstellar Council. The holographic display shimmered with alien faces, some reptilian, some crystalline, some barely recognizable as living beings. They had convened to discuss humanity's formal request to join the Galactic Alliance, a union of civilizations bound by law, trade, and cooperation. "This is ridiculous," Arya muttered under her breath. Her brown eyes scanned the faces of the alien delegates, none of whom looked impressed. "The Council has made its decision," said a crystalline ambassador, its voice a soft hum. "Humanity is not ready. Your species is primitive. Your systems are fragile. And your judgment is often emotional rather than logical." Membership is denied. A wave of quiet murmurs filled the room as holograms flickered. Some delegates nodded in agreement. Others whispered among themselves. The verdict was final. Humanity had been rejected. Arya clenched her fists. She had expected skepticism, yes, but outright dismissal, after all their progress, felt like a sting. She looked around the room. Behind her, the Earth representatives tried to mask their disappointment, but the tension was palpable. "Primitive?" Arya said, her voice steady but fierce. "Primitive? We just landed on the edges of the solar system in less than a century of interstellar travel. We built technologies no one expected from humans. And yet, you say we're primitive?" The alien delegates did not answer. They had already turned their attention to other matters. Arya felt frustration bubbling inside her. Humanity had been underestimated for centuries, even on their own planet. Now, the galaxy had joined in the judgment. But giving up had never been an option for humans. "Council," she said, addressing her fellow Earth representatives. "We may be young, but we are adaptable. We may be small, but we are courageous, and we care about life, about the helpless, about each other. We are not primitive. We are human." One of the council members, an older diplomat named Jonas Reeve, placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Arya, I know your spirit, and I agree. But the galaxy sees only what it wants to see. That's why we must show them differently. Not with words, but with action." Arya nodded. She already had a plan in mind, one that could change everything. Days later, in a secret research facility orbiting the outer edge of the solar system, Arya stood before a holographic map of nearby star systems. Lines of light traced potential travel routes, and a small blinking dot marked an uncharted system far beyond known space. "This signal," she explained to her team, "is unlike anything we've ever received. It's structured, intelligent, and desperate. Someone or something is calling for help." Her second-in-command, Lieutenant Omar Chen, frowned. "It's risky, Captain. We don't know what's out there. The galaxy has already rejected us. If we fail, it will prove them right." Arya shook her head. "No, Omar. If we fail, it will teach us something new. But if we succeed, humanity will prove that we are capable of more than anyone expects." Her words carried weight. Her crew was loyal, skilled, and daring. They had trained for situations like this, but nothing in human history had prepared them for interstellar rescue in unknown space. Preparations began immediately. Ships were readied, supplies were loaded, and the best minds in human science worked to adapt the fleet for an unknown environment. Every decision was precise, calculated but also creative. Humans were masters of improvisation, and that would be their greatest strength. The journey was long. As the fleet traveled through hyperspace, Arya often stared out at the endless stars, feeling both awe and determination. "Do you ever wonder?" Omar asked one night in the observation deck. "Why they rejected us? Was it really because of our technology? Or because we refused to be predictable?" Arya smiled softly. "It's easier for them to judge us than to understand us. They see order, precision, centuries of tradition. They see rules. But humans, we don't follow the rules blindly. We adapt. We think differently. That scares them more than anything else." Omar nodded. "Maybe that's our advantage." Arya turned back to the stars. "Exactly. And when we reach that system, we will show them. Not just the aliens, but ourselves too." After weeks of travel, the fleet emerged near the distant star system. It was unlike anything they had imagined. A cluster of planets surrounded by violent solar winds, orbiting a dying star that threatened to collapse into a supernova. Sensors detected signs of life, a civilization struggling to survive. The Elythians, as they would later be called, were trapped on their planet, their cities barely functional under the extreme gravitational fluctuations. Any mistake, any delay, could cost countless lives. The human fleet moved carefully, navigating dangerous solar flares and unstable orbits. Every ship worked in unison, every crew member aware of the stakes. Yet, despite the danger, Arya's voice remained calm as she directed operations. "Prepare the rescue shuttles. We'll need to evacuate the civilians first. Use the magnetic shields to stabilize their habitats. Keep communication open. Every life counts." Her orders were precise, but it was human creativity that made the plan unique. They didn't just rely on technology. They adapted, improvised, and problem-solved in real time. A solar flare threatened to destroy the northern city, so engineers used parts from transport shuttles to build temporary energy shields. Another city was cut off by a gravitational surge, so a team of pilots performed a daring maneuver to guide civilians to safe zones. As the day turned into night, the human fleet worked tirelessly. Arya watched the Elythians begin to understand the humans not through language, but through action. Humanity's courage, ingenuity, and compassion were on full display. By the end of the first week, the rescue operation had saved thousands. The Elythians, once terrified and hopeless, now looked to the humans with awe and gratitude. Arya met with the Elythian leaders in a temporary command center. They were small, winged beings with translucent skin that shimmered under the light of their dying star. Their leader, Elira, bowed deeply. "You have saved our people," Elira said. "No other species would have risked themselves for us." "Why?" "Why?" Arya smiled. "Because it's the right thing to do. Because life matters. And because humanity believes that no one should face extinction alone." Elira studied her for a long moment. "Your actions, they are not what we expected from your species. The galaxy has judged you harshly, yet you have proven remarkable." Arya felt a spark of pride, not for herself alone, but for every human who had worked, risked, and sacrificed to reach this moment. Word of humanity's daring rescue soon began to spread, reaching the far corners of the galaxy. While some alien civilizations still viewed humans skeptically, whispers of their bravery and ingenuity began to circulate. Back on Earth, the United Earth Council received reports from the fleet. There was excitement, of course, but also a quiet satisfaction, a sense that humanity was no longer invisible in the vast expanse of stars. They were small, perhaps, but their heart and courage had been seen. Arya stood once more on the observation deck, looking at the Elythian system. Stars shimmered in the distance, and she felt a sense of possibility she had never known before. Humanity had been rejected by the galaxy, but rejection did not mean defeat. Not when humans had courage, creativity, and compassion on their side. "The galaxy may not accept us yet," she whispered, "but we are not done. Not by a long shot." And with that, The human fleet prepared for the next phase, one that would test not only their skills but the very essence of what it meant to be human. The galaxy had rejected them. Yes. But humanity's arms were open, and their hearts were ready. The distant star system glimmered like a fragile jewel in the darkness of space. Its planets orbited a dying star, their surfaces battered by constant storms and violent gravitational shifts. The Elythians, a civilization unknown to the broader galaxy, were trapped on their homeworld. Their cities were crumbling, their communication networks failing, and their people terrified. For humans, it was a challenge unlike any they had faced before. The Interstellar Council had refused to help. Other advanced civilizations deemed it too dangerous, too costly, too unpredictable, but humans did not hesitate. Humanity did not calculate only risk, they measured courage, compassion, and possibility. Captain Arya Vale stood on the bridge of the flagship Resolute, gazing at the storm-tossed planet below. Her eyes, steady and determined, scanned the holographic map that flickered with data from the surface. "Status report," she commanded. Lieutenant Omar Chen, monitoring the fleet, spoke with urgency. "The northern city is partially collapsed due to gravitational surges. Civilians are trapped. Shields are holding, but for how long we don't know. Other cities are unstable, with power outages spreading rapidly." Arya nodded. "Deploy the rescue shuttles. We'll stabilize what we can and get everyone off the surface safely. And make sure the engineers are ready to improvise." Improvisation was humanity's greatest strength. Alien technology often relied on precision, rules, and predictable outcomes. Humans, however, could adapt, innovate, and find solutions even in chaos. The fleet began its descent. Ships maneuvered through swirling plasma storms, magnetic fluctuations, and fragments of debris from destroyed satellites. The humans' magnetic shields glowed brightly, cutting through the storms like threads of silver. On the planet's surface, Elythian citizens watched in awe as unfamiliar ships descended from the sky. The humans' presence brought hope. Children clutched their parents' hands, and elders whispered prayers to their ancient deities. The Elythians had seen advanced beings before, but none had dared to risk themselves for their survival. The first rescue shuttles landed near a partially collapsed city. Humans jumped out with rapid efficiency, carrying tools, supplies, and energy stabilizers. They worked quickly, but carefully. Every decision mattered. "Use the gravity anchors here," Arya shouted. "We can stabilize the structures long enough for evacuation." Engineers raced to place devices that hummed with human ingenuity. They were a mix of advanced technology and improvised tools. One engineer even modified a transport drone to act as a makeshift crane, lifting debris from trapped Elythians. Omar guided a shuttle through a magnetic storm, carefully approaching a group of civilians stranded on a rooftop. "Hold steady," he murmured. "We've got you." And they did. One by one, Elythians were evacuated, guided by humans who moved with purpose and compassion. Meanwhile, Arya met with the Elythian leaders. Elira, the winged leader of the planet, hovered near the command center, her translucent skin shimmering under emergency lights. "You are brave," Elira said, her voice trembling with emotion. "No other species would have risked their lives for us." "Why?" Arya smiled, tired but unbroken. "Because every life matters. Because when someone is in danger, you don't stand by, you act. That is what humanity does." Elira's eyes glimmered. "You are unlike any species we have known. The galaxy judged you unfairly. Yet here you are, saving us when no one else would." Arya nodded. "We may be young in the galaxy's eyes, but we know how to value life. That is our strength." Back in orbit, the human fleet faced another challenge. A sudden surge of gravitational energy from the dying star created a series of solar flares aimed directly at the southern cities. "Solar flare incoming," a technician shouted. "Shields may not hold." Arya's mind raced. There was no time for hesitation. "Prepare the stabilizers." redirect power from the secondary shields, and send drones to create temporary barriers. Every second counts. The human fleet moved with precision and improvisation. Shuttles were repurposed into emergency deflectors. Engineers on the ground modified energy grids to absorb the flare's impact. In moments that tested every ounce of courage and skill, the human team stabilized the cities just as the flare passed. The Elythians watched in stunned amazement. Humans had faced death and danger, yet they never faltered. As the rescue continued, bonds formed between humans and Elythians. Children laughed as human engineers showed them simple games. Adults marveled at human problem-solving and creativity. Even the elders, who had doubted all outsiders, began to see humanity in a new light. Omar approached Arya during a brief pause in operations. "Captain, we've saved nearly half the population. But there are still thousands more. And the star's collapse is accelerating. Can we do it?" Arya looked at the distant sun, glowing ominously in the sky. "We must. Humans never give up. That is who we are. And today, we prove it not to the galaxy, but to ourselves." Over the following days, the fleet worked tirelessly. Each challenge was met with ingenuity. Civilians were evacuated using a mix of shuttles, transport pods, and even large-scale repurposed satellites. Power surges were absorbed using modified energy converters. Communication networks were restored with improvised relays. The Elythians, once panicked and hopeless, now followed human guidance, learning and assisting where possible. Together, they formed a partnership, not as saviors and saved, but as allies. At one point, a massive storm threatened the central city. Human shuttles and Elythian flying units worked side by side to reinforce the buildings with energy barriers and magnetic fields. The city survived the storm intact, thanks to the humans' quick thinking and the Elythians' cooperation. When the last group of Elythians was safely aboard the human ships, Arya allowed herself a rare moment of relief. She looked at her crew, tired, bruised, but alive, and felt a surge of pride. "This is what humans do," she said softly. "We adapt, we fight, we care. And sometimes, that is enough to change the impossible into reality." Alira approached her again, a new respect shining in her eyes. "Humanity is extraordinary. You faced danger that even the oldest civilizations would not confront. You saved our people. You have proven that your species is more than the galaxy believed." Arya smiled, though exhaustion weighed heavily on her shoulders. "We are not perfect, but we act. That is what counts." News of the rescue began to spread across the galaxy. Other civilizations, which had previously dismissed humanity, started to take notice. Some were skeptical, unwilling to admit they had misjudged a young species. Others quietly admired humans' courage and creativity. Back on Earth, the United Earth Council received transmissions from the fleet. The world watched as humans returned with Elythian survivors, alive and grateful. Humanity had succeeded where the galaxy's oldest civilizations had refused to act. Jonas Reeve, the council elder, addressed the assembly. "This is a historic moment. For the first time, humans have shown that our strength lies not in brute force or ancient wisdom, but in our courage, our compassion, and our ability to adapt. The galaxy may have rejected us, but we have proven that we are capable of greatness." Arya, standing silently on the observation deck of Resolute, gazed at the stars beyond. The Elythians were safe, their civilization preserved, and humanity had gained something more valuable than approval. Respect earned through action. She thought of the Interstellar Council, the alien delegates who had called humans primitive. They would soon hear of what humanity had accomplished. But Arya did not seek their praise. Humanity had acted because it was the right thing to do. "The galaxy may still doubt us," she whispered. "But one day, they will see what humans are capable of. Not because we demand recognition, but because we act when no one else will." And with that thought, she turned her attention to the next challenge. Humanity had crossed a threshold. They had saved a civilization that others had abandoned. They had risked everything, and succeeded. And the galaxy, whether it wanted to admit it or not, was beginning to take notice. The galaxy was vast, but word traveled faster than light. Tales of humanity's daring rescue of the Elythians spread across star systems, carried by messages, trade networks, and whispers among alien fleets. For the first time, humans were no longer invisible, no longer dismissed as primitive. The galaxy began to notice not just their technology, but their courage, creativity, and heart. Captain Arya Vale stood on the bridge of the Resolute, gazing at the stars. The Elythians had joined them in orbit, their citizens learning from humans and sharing knowledge about their culture and technology. The bond between the species had grown strong, and the Elythians had formally invited humanity to assist them in rebuilding their homeworld. "This is incredible," Lieutenant Omar Chen said, watching the rebuilding efforts on the holographic display. "We saved a civilization that the galaxy left to die. And they're teaching us things we could never have imagined." 2. "We could never have imagined," Arya nodded. "That's the power of humans. We don't just survive. We learn. We adapt. And we lift others up along the way." Back on Earth, celebrations were modest but proud. Humanity had faced danger far beyond anything in their history, and had succeeded. Scientists, engineers, and explorers were honored. Children listened in awe as stories of the rescue were shared. Humanity had proven itself not through weapons or politics, but through action, courage, and compassion. Yet, the galaxy's reaction was mixed. Some alien civilizations openly admired humanity. Others were cautious, hesitant to accept a species they had once dismissed. The Interstellar Council convened once more, this time not to reject humanity, but to observe. "The humans have changed the rules," said an elder diplomat from the crystalline Xylar system. "They act in ways no one expects, and yet, it works. They have saved lives that the galaxy ignored. That is remarkable." Another delegate, a serpentine being with golden eyes, hissed softly. "They are reckless, emotional, unpredictable. We cannot rely on them for stability." Arya, observing the council's deliberation through communications, understood both sides. Humans were different. That difference, once seen as weakness, was now their greatest strength. Humanity's next challenge came sooner than expected. A rogue star cluster threatened to destabilize multiple nearby systems, causing chaos that could destroy entire planets. Many advanced civilizations hesitated, citing risk and the difficulty of coordination. Arya and her fleet responded immediately. Humanity did not wait for permission. They analyzed the cosmic event, calculated safe routes, and deployed stabilizing probes and energy shields. Their approach was unorthodox, but effective. "Use the gravitational manipulators to redirect the debris," Arya commanded. "We'll coordinate planetary defenses with the probes. Time is short, but we can do this." Shuttles moved at lightning speed. Engineers recalibrated energy shields in real time. Scientists on board Resolute devised algorithms to predict the movement of stellar fragments. Every action was precise yet adaptable. Humans were improvisers, thinkers, and doers all at once. The galaxy watched in awe as humanity stabilized the cluster, saving countless lives and preventing widespread destruction. The action spoke louder than any debate. Humans had proven their value not in words or titles, but in deeds. Meanwhile, the Elythians worked alongside humans, learning strategies and technology that would help them rebuild permanently. The two species formed a partnership built on trust and mutual respect. Illyra, the Elythian leader, often accompanied Arya on missions, observing and sometimes offering advice. "You inspire confidence," Illyra said one day, hovering beside Arya on the bridge. "Not just in your people, but in all who see what you can do." "The galaxy will take notice," Arya smiled. "We don't seek recognition. We act because it is right. But when others see it, maybe they will finally understand what humans are capable of." The Interstellar Council convened again, this time with an invitation extended to humanity. Arya and a delegation of humans arrived, not as petitioners, but as respected participants. The alien delegates, some skeptical and some impressed, listened as humanity's representatives spoke not of power, but of responsibility. "We do not ask for membership because we are the strongest," Arya addressed the council. "We ask because we care. We act when others will not. We innovate when faced with impossible challenges. We lift up those who are helpless. Humanity's value is not in conquest, but in courage, creativity, and compassion," the council murmured. Some were unconvinced, clinging to old prejudices. Others quietly nodded, recognizing the truth in her words. Suddenly, a new alert arrived. A chain reaction of cosmic anomalies threatened a neighboring cluster of inhabited systems. The council hesitated, unsure of what to do. Arya stepped forward. "We will lead the effort. We have done it before, and we will do it again. Humans act where others hesitate. Coming Rye. 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 Coming Rye." With the council's reluctant approval, the human fleet launched into action. They coordinated interstellar evacuations, stabilized planets with gravitational shields, and redirected dangerous debris fields using a combination of technology and ingenuity. Once more, humans saved lives. The galaxy had nearly abandoned. After the crisis passed, the council convened a final session. The Elythians spoke first, praising humanity's courage and leadership. "They saved our people," Elira said. "They stabilized entire systems that the galaxy feared to touch." Humans are not primitive. They are a species of remarkable ingenuity, bravery, and heart. They deserve a place among us. One by one, other civilizations echoed the sentiment. The galaxy had been skeptical. They had judged humans harshly. But actions, not assumptions, now defined humanity's reputation. The council voted. For the first time, humans were formally recognized as full participants in galactic affairs. The vote was not unanimous, but the approval was undeniable. Humanity had earned its place not because of force, or politics, or longevity, but because of courage, creativity, and compassion. On Earth, celebrations erupted. Humanity's achievement was more than political recognition. It was validation of the human spirit. Stories of bravery, resourcefulness, and heart were shared across the planet. Children dreamed bigger dreams. Scientists reached higher. Leaders acted with vision. Humanity had proven that even a young species could leave a mark on the galaxy. Arya stood on the observation deck of Resolute, watching the stars twinkle beyond the Elythian system. The fleet floated peacefully, carrying survivors, supplies, and hope. Humanity had crossed a threshold. They had faced the impossible and succeeded. Omar joined her, smiling. "Do you realize what we've done? The galaxy once rejected us. And now, we are its example of courage." Arya nodded, a sense of quiet pride washing over her. "Yes. But remember this, Omar. We didn't do it for recognition. We did it because it was right. That is what makes humanity human." The Elythians, now secure, formally offered to ally with humanity in galactic ventures. Their technology, knowledge, and resources complemented humanity's ingenuity. Together, they represented a model of cooperation and mutual respect, a living proof that courage and compassion could change the galaxy. Across the cosmos, whispers turned into acknowledgement. Alien civilizations began to reconsider their assumptions about humans. They had once judged them as small, emotional, and primitive. Now, humans were seen as bold, resourceful, and morally courageous. The galaxy may have rejected them once, but humanity had shown that rejection could not define them. They had acted with intelligence, bravery, and compassion. They had lifted up the helpless, stabilized, dying worlds, and proved that even a young species could rise to greatness. Arya looked out at the stars, feeling both humility and hope. The journey was not over. Humanity's place in the galaxy was just beginning. But one truth was clear. Humans did not wait for permission to do what was right. They did not shrink in the face of danger. They reached out their arms, open to help, and the universe had begun to take notice. And so, the galaxy learned the value of humankind not through power, not through conquest, but through heart, courage, and unwavering ingenuity. Humanity had been rejected, yet, in the end, it was humanity that had taught the galaxy an enduring lesson. True strength lies in compassion, action, and the willingness to face the impossible. The stars shimmered with possibility, and humanity's journey had only just begun.